Myles. Myles.
Brian.
How's it going, Myles?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's Friday.
Friday. Sorry.
It means it's GAMESCAST Live, I believe.
I do
Should
believe.
probably do GAMESCAST Live.
I do believe it is Friday, and I do believe it is time for GamesCast, and I do believe the title of this video is a little bit sarcastic.
It is.
Next week's killer PlayStation VR2 lineup. I mean, there may be killer titles, but I don't think the entire lineup is killer. We're going to get into that in a minute. Sirens on my end. Myles.
But the thumbnail's good. I like the thumbnail. The thumbnail's really cool.
The thumbnail is fire.
And that's what I was reading when you were saying you were questioning the title. I was like, it looks good. So much happening. There is a lot happening. There is a lot happening.
I think the video for every Friday show should be PSVR2 next week. And then the following night or the following day, I put up PSVR this week. It's just like to show the transition of time.
That's it.
People really
And then you should also do PSVR2 last week, like a little recap show.
Because
if there's one thing we've learned, Brian, is you have too much free time on your hand. You need to be doing more show formats.
Agreed. And on that note, I think we should start the show. Ready to do this thing?
Let's do it.
Let's go. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern on Without Parole for your viewing pleasure. We care about views. Kind of. A little bit. But we care far more about your oral pleasure. That's why our good friend RyPop puts this thing up on podcast services of your choice. That's right. Oral pleasure.
What? You put your ears in your mouth? What?
I do, because my ears hang low. All to and fro. Can you put them in your mouth?
You don't want them to flap about. So
Can you time
so they don't get caught in the wind?
That's the rhyme. That's how it goes. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. It might be different in the UK.
Just one of many Americanisms I'm not familiar with, Brian. But carry on.
Good. My name's Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And this gentleman over here to my right, your right, it's Myles Dyer from YouTube.com/shocker Myles. What's going on, dude?
Hey, Brian. Hey, GameCats. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, good, man. The last week, I mean, I was pretty admitting last week that I was quite low energy. Last week. Yeah, pretty low energy. I've been pretty low energy this month. Still feeling a bit low energy at the moment. And so this past week, I've, for the most part, just kind of not done much live streaming. And then I've just been like gaming. And just thought, you know what, I'm just going to game it. And I've been doing trophy hunting, which I've not done for a very long time, with a lot of PSVR2 titles, but also, Brian, because for any trophy hunters out there who use psnprofiles.com, if you have you can look at your account, see what trophies you've got. Right. It has a little tab called Trophy Advisor. And what the Trophy Advisor does is you can break it down to platforms. You could say like VR, and it will say, here are the trophies that are going to be easiest for you to achieve based on the ones that have had the highest completion rates by people. And so you can filter it to just platinum trophies or gold. And the first 2 pages were mainly PSVR games. And so I, one evening, dug out my PSVR. And I've only done it once before since the PSVR2, which was when we went to try out, was it Bad Dreams? We did that for Bad Dreams, I think, yeah. Very Bad Dreams, yeah. And I thought I'm never going to dig it out ever again. But I did. And I got a few platinums. Hex Tunnel, which was a joy, I guess you could say. I also did it for 1976 Back to Midway. I actually bought that game towards the end of the PSVR cycle when I had a really good time with it.
It's great.
That is a game I'd love to see come to PSVR 2. Like, it's just fun arcadey. I like what they did with it. It's a simple, it knows what it wants to be.
They have a sequel. They have a sequel that never came to PSVR. It's more of a sci-fi thing.
That was it.
Where like it was, it felt more, a lot like those NES side scrollers, like R-Type or Gradius or whatever.
Was it on a different VR platform, or it's not been on VR at all?
It came to Quest. It came to Quest and maybe Steam, but did not come to PSVR. So yeah, it'd be nice to get both of these games on PSVR too. I'd love to finally be able to play the other one.
Yeah, and then I tried Apocalypse Rider, and I gave up on the last level where you got to complete level 20 without crashing once, and it's the one where you're on a bike and you got to dodge between the cars and avoid near misses and that. And it's a fun game,
No, it's not.
but it got to a point I was like, I'm ready to update to PSVR2 again, and so I actually played Runner some more. But you've got to get an S rank on every level in Runner. And I just need to work out how you get an S rank. Is it based on, like, I don't know. I think I haven't understood how the game works. I keep thinking that you've just got to, like, get to the end of the track as quick as you can while destroying enemies. Whereas actually, I think what you're meant to do is, like, it's not about going full speed the whole time. Slow down, kill the enemies, and keep going.
Yep.
But Runner is really, really good. And then I've been playing a lot of like non-plats just to get 100% on. So I went back to Kill It With Fire. One of the trophies is bugged. No pun intended. But Kill It With Fire, actually, because we talked about whether it was a game to go back to. And, you know, I actually think as a game overall, it's really cool. It's got some cool stuff towards the end. It's got a really cool end cutscene, actually. And also I went back to Angry Birds VR.
Okay, and listen, you're talking about too many different games. I can't keep up. I'm changing the trailers every... like literally just got killed with fire.
I didn't realize. Sorry.
The second I changed it over, you're like, and then Angry Birds, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
No. Go ahead. Sorry. Angry Birds. Pretend the trailer is Angry Birds.
Okay. I'm so sorry. As I've said, I've been really low energy. It feels like all that energy that I've been low on is just channeling out now. So you're getting like 4 weeks worth of energy that was just like being dormant within me. No, Angry Birds. Again, when you're reviewing all these different games on PSVR2, you very quickly, move on to the next ones. And sometimes by doing it, you don't really appreciate even the most simple of gameplay. And Angry Birds VR, I never played it on PSVR, is another example of, if you are a fan of Angry Birds, this is the definitive way to play it in VR.
Yeah. Because
having the different perspectives, I have to say, the physics in Angry Birds VR, and especially when you get to the later levels, is phenomenal. Like how they've worked out that, because there's about 13 levels per like zone, and I think there are like 8 zones. I have massive respect for the devs that have made that game, because they also have a mode where you can create your own levels, and you can play other people's. And actually, I think Angry Birds VR, if you're a fan of Angry Birds, I think it's definitely a high recommend, because it's just really good. And at Christmas time, I showed it to some family members who were familiar with the mobile game, and they had an absolute blast with it. So it's allowed me to sort of have appreciation for games that perhaps I played and left and went on to the next thing. Last game I'm going to mention, Red Matter 2.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
I had that one ready.
Totally.
Because I thought Angry Birds, what's next? Red Matter 2, of course.
I mean, alphabetically, for sure.
Yeah, Red Matter 2 was a game that I played quite a lot of when I did my Let's Play in that, and I never went back to it. I obviously went to Red Matter, did that very quickly in a Let's Play. Finally got some time this week to complete Red Matter 2, and just blew my mind. Was just... It's like a near perfect game, and I only say near perfect because no game is ever truly perfect, but the mood, the puzzles, how good it obviously looks. We always talk about how good it looks in the headset, but just the story and the music, you feel like you're a part of just this big story. And at the end, I was pretty moved by it, not in a sort of crying emotional way, but I was just like, this game it's really special, really, really special. And so I do think Red Matter 2 is a must play. And I'm getting, this is going to sound like I've been copying you with what you've been going through recently, but I'm getting my kitchen redone in the next few weeks, and so I'm going to be staying at my parents' for a few days here and there. So I'm taking all my consoles stuff with me so I can be doing Let's Plays while I'm there. But I'm going to be getting my dad in the evenings to play Red Matter. I want him to play Red Matter 2, but I feel like I need to get him to play the first one first. But my dad, I grew up watching Star Trek with him and all the sci-fi stuff. And I wanted him to have a deeper VR experience, because normally at Christmas time, you're not going to put them in stuff like Red Matter and stuff. You're going to put them in the quick games where they can just pick up and play and they know where they are. But like Red Matter 2 is a game where I want my dad to sort of sit down and go, hey, this is going to take like 5-6 hours, but don't do it all in one go. And I'm going to try and get him to play through it all because, it's just phenomenal. So went for the platinum, got that. Red Matter 2, very, very special game.
Couldn't agree more. It's really nice, man. It's really nice seeing games like Red Matter 2 and Propagation Paradise Hotel, and there's so many games recently that just have been showing us the true potential of PSVR2, and it's just I'm so glad that we're kind of like we're coming to the end of year one, and I feel like year one was for showing us a couple different things. One, it was showing us just how amazing things can be on the system. But also, for certain developers, it was showing, hey, there's a learning curve here, right? Not everything's going to be perfect straight out of the box. And I really hope that we get to leave a lot of these growing pains behind us after year one, so that we don't have to have that same problem that we had on PSVR 1, where like we were always worried when we started the games up, like, are they going to be blurry? Are they only going to have click turning? And so it's nice that we have less to worry about, but it would be nice to not have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. And I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there very quickly, actually.
Absolutely, Brian. And I just want to respond as a Raf, kind of jokingly, but there is a serious point to this. Was asking in the chat, Krispain Hero, $2.50 right now, worth it for the platinum? Lol. A friend of mine who recently got a PSVR2 asked the question. He texted me saying, should I get it? It's only £2. And I went, stay well away. People who've seen my Let's Play, it's, I think, still the worst game ever released on PSVR2. It's shovelware. It's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. But even if you want to go for the platinum, one of the platinums is you have to play 5 hours. And the way it's worded, it looks like 5 hours in one session. So, good luck with that. I did jump back into it the other day to see if any of the stuff had been fixed, and still having issues with, there's no music. Sometimes you can't pick up the ammo. Often you run out of ammo. And there are things that are advertised that don't happen in it. And I'm in the backwards and forwards with Sony at the moment, trying to get my money back on Run or Die VR, because you get to level 3 and you can't start it because it won't let you pick up the item that you need to pick up to start it. So Run or Die VR and Krispain Hero, both from Midnight Works. And I've always said I always like to assume good intent. If they update the games and fix them, then there might be something there to be had fun with. But the impression I get is no, it's just dump it, have huge SEO terms put in the titles and descriptions of the video. Krispain Hero VR has dungeon, roguelite, shooter, simulator in the title. I mean, what does that tell you? So yeah, stay well away, and don't even buy it for the $2. Don't encourage them.
Yeah. What did it launch as? How much did it launch for?
Oh, it was £11, so I'm guessing it was going to be $15. I paid about $15 for it.
Wow.
Or maybe it was £7. I can't. Yeah, it was too much. But the main takeaway I had for Krispain Hero was, even if it was free, it still cost too much because it's not worth your time. Like, it really is. And so when I did Run or Die VR, I advertised it as, I am buying this so you don't have to. And I think you were saying this week that when you search Krispain Hero, you have the trailer and then my Let's Play. And I'm happy if that's the case.
All the coverage,
right. And that's generally it. I want people to see it and make an informed decision. If people see it and they still buy it, then that's on them. Right. But I do think a big part of what we do is, yes, to celebrate the good, but it's also to point out the bad. I almost killed myself during the PSVR 1 generation because my goal, I was trying to review everything, right? And AJ would constantly get mad at me, being like, "Why are you so focused on these terrible games? Like, when there's awesome games out there that are going to get you, a lot more views and a lot more people are going to care about. Like, why are you wasting your time on this shit?" And he still gets mad at me about it, like, constantly, right? And the answer is,
exactly what you just said. Like half of what we do, like it's people are gonna hear about the good games. We're gonna talk about the good games. We're never gonna stop talking about the good games, but we do have to warn you about the bad games on top of it. So
yeah.
Hold on a second. Mako XL with a Canadian $5 tip says it's 5-day VR, bros. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna pretend like I did understand.
It's 5-day.
5-day VR, bros. I don't know. Ace Gamer, the gamer cat, with the $13.37 says, when will you find time to complete an Ultra Wings 2 review? You know I don't buy anything unless you review it first. P.S. Tornado needs a Game Cat hoodie. Thank you so much for your generosity, sir. Dude, yeah, with Ultra Wings kind of stealth drop, accidental stealth drop, it made it impossible for me. Like, and anytime a game comes out and kind of like, well, then that's... It kind of falls to the bottom of the priority list, right? Because then it's like, well, what's the next game coming out? Like, what's the next game I can have a review for, on launch day or when embargo drops? And so obviously, I'm playing Dead Hook and Legendary Tales right now, in order to have reviews for those ready for when embargo lifts. And at some point, man, I'd love to circle back. I've got a good number of hours into Ultra Wings. I spent a bunch of time with that game, unlocked a bunch of the planes, bought a bunch of the airports, and beat a bunch of the missions. It's cool. It's cool. I mean, and for $20, you're getting a ton of content. So I recommend it. I think it's good. It's solid 8.5 kind of title for me. Mid eights. I don't know.
That's cool, man. I've not been on it yet. Next week I'm going to start getting back into the swing of things with Let's Play. So Ultra Wings will be on that. I mean, we're going to talk about it on the show. We've got a lot of games coming out next week.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We got Mako XL with the Canadian $10 tip says, Brian saw your throwback picture. I don't know what a throwback picture is. Please use for a gym membership.
So you got was it an old school photo of you?
I don't know. No idea.
Oh, okay.
But I think he just called me fat, Myles. And in all fairness, he's right. So, yeah, I mean, I've got a gym membership. I just need to use it more. So thank you very much. I appreciate your complete and total lack of empathy.
Brian,
yes, sir.
If you wanted to play, if you were going to try and work out using any PSVR2 game,
I would not.
But I know, like, generally speaking, like, if you got an extra strategy, you're better off going to the gym and stuff like that. But, like, if you, out of all the games on PSVR2, I don't know, is there a clear winner for you of, like, what's the one that's going to really make you work out?
I mean, WrestlePlayer is pretty good. I know that Les Mills, Body Combat, a lot of people who, take VR fitness kind of seriously, if that's a thing, they swear by that. But I've yet to even touch that, so I don't know.
Les Mills, anyone that plays it, can you tell me in the chat, the knee up ones where you're meant to bring your knees up, does that actually work on PSVR2? Because I could never get it working. And you can't exit a workout before the end. So if it's not working, you have to like hard stop the game and restart it. So yeah, I'm just curious because I wanted to use Les Mills, but there was just a mechanic in the game that wasn't working for me. So it kind of rendered it. Someone told me it works. Okay, well, I need to speak to you about that and find out what I'm doing wrong.
The Game Cat Andrew Ehrenreich with the $5 tip says, Happy Friday, cats. Added Light Brigade to the list of games I hated at first, and now I'm obsessed with. Can't wait for Legendary Tales. Hashtag PSVR2 has no games. I mean, dude, Light Brigade's fucking awesome. If you don't like Light Brigade, I don't know what to tell you. Beautiful I'd like to know what you didn't like about it at first, though, Andrew, because I think Myles knows this, and Wes knows this, and AJ knows this. I hate every game right off. Like, there's always a reason that I hate every game right off, and then like once my brain goes, listen, Brian, that's not that big of a deal. If I can push through, keep playing, and then like whatever the thing is that I hated right off the bat, just kind of fades away, So I'm curious because like here I'm looking in the chat, just making sure I don't miss it. Make sure you let us know. I'm going to try to keep up with this. Mako XL Canadian $5 tip says, your time back for bad games, give to Myles.
No.
Give the bad games to you.
Yeah, all right. No,
Sure.
I'm on it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm on it.
Since you guys are reviewing games for the
To be honest, there are conversations behind the scenes on Discord because Wes, AJ, Brian, and I, we coordinate to make sure we get review codes and stuff. And obviously, there's a lot of games to catch up on. And there's occasionally a game I'll ask about, and there's just complete silence. And Brian was like, "Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about it." Like there are just some games like Krispain Hero where people are like, "Yeah, sorry, oh yeah, we forget, Myles, that you're a bit out there with your." Play everything thing.
Dan Kiefer says every game that isn't Resident Evil. Are you saying that every game that isn't Resident Evil I hate right away? Because I hated Village right away, and I hated Resident Evil 4
Did you?
right away. Yep. And,
because of the intro. Yeah.
And all of that is captured on my Let's Play, my first impression streams. It is me being like, fuck this game. Like Village was like nonstop cutscenes. And it was just like, let me play the fucking game. Stop it. This is nonsense. And then RE4, similar deal, being like, me complaining about a lot of stuff. And again, that's just part of my process, man. Like that's just part of like what I go through. I mean, I can't tell you why my brain does it, but usually when I jump into a game, I go, oh man, I don't really like this, or I don't really like that. Yeah. And then like, and then later on, I'm like, I fucking love this game. I love this game so much, So I don't know why. This is also why I've stopped doing first impression live streams, because it's like, it's very misleading. I'd be like, oh, Brian hates everything. Well, yeah, actually, at first I do.
That's really interesting, man. I mean, on the one hand, I'm going to get to the first impression thing, but like, it's kind of the same with music and albums. You can get like an album where straight away it's catchy and like every song hits straight away. And this isn't an absolute rule. Sometimes it goes against this. But generally speaking, if you got an album where everything is catchy straight away, you get bored of it much quicker.
Yep.
Some of the greatest albums are the ones that you have to listen and sort of you go, okay, this is something. And then it grows on you and you're like, oh, now I'm in it. And and that's probably the same with games as well. The ones that take 100%. A bit of time to ferment, to understand the mechanics, and to go, oh, this is what they were doing, and being one with it. There's that. First impressions, something I've been thinking a lot lately is in my Let's Plays, I often get people saying, so what score would you give it? And it's like, I can't give it a score, or would you recommend this? And it's first impressions. I'm just sort of saying what I like and I don't. And I always sort of end the live stream thinking, oh, I wish I'd said this. I wish I'd said that. So what I'm going to start doing now is, after I've done my Let's Play, is say, for the next 24 hours, if you have any questions about me playing it, put it in the comments. And for the next 24 hours, I'll respond to people, because then at least it gives me some time to think about, some of the key questions. Because when you're in the game, you're missing stuff that perhaps, you'll say something as a criticism and it turns out, actually, that was in the game. It's very difficult in those early moments. You do need thinking time to reflect, to give fair things. Some people in the chat were just responding to what we were talking about earlier about fitness and working out, and two games that keep being mentioned: Synth Riders, which I agree is really, really good, and Pistol Whip. Whenever I've played Pistol Whip, oh my goodness, yeah, that does absolutely knacker you. Whatever the equivalent in America is, knacker, but yeah.
Stuff, I don't know,
just wear out.
Pistol Whip, always my legs. It's definitely good for leg day, right? It's like,
that's so true, man. Because you have to do all the circular motions and the squats. Yep.
All right, man. Hey, listen, before we really get going here, Myles, Wes and I streamed State of Play on Wednesday. I don't want to get into a 20-minute conversation about it, but I am curious, like, what were your overall thoughts on State of Play? Were there any standouts? How do you think it was a good one?
I do, and the way I summarized it on Twitter afterwards, I still call it Twitter, and I will always call it Twitter. For me, I actually think it's one of PlayStation's best ever State of Plays, because State of Play has always been this kind of thing of where even they say on blogs, like, moderate your expectations, and State of Play never seemed to have found its voice. It started off as like a Nintendo Direct thing with that sort of slideshow with the voiceovers. The fact that straight away you had Herman Holst speaking directly to camera going, this is who we are, especially at a time when Jim Ryan has left. And then you had like it ending with Hideo Kojima. You had developers talking throughout, and they were like, "No, this is going to be 40 minutes. You know, we've got some short stuff, we've got some longer stuff, and PSVR2 fitted in really nicely in it. It was the first time I felt like it just feels like a part of the ecosystem now. Like, and that's what you want, because we always said, when you put in PSVR2 stuff, non-VR gamers are going to go, I don't care about VR. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of, they're going to switch off. So it needs its own thing. But if it has its own thing, you're then preaching to the choir. You're not then going to get it to potential audiences. Like Metro might get some people to join in that. So I was really impressed with State of Play. I think if this is the format, and I'm someone who's worked on sort of doing features for companies and how they communicate with consumers in sort of video presentations, this is what I feel they should have done a long time ago, and I'm glad to see them doing it now. It has the prestige and the confidence of what their showcases have. Obviously, we still want the showcases, and I still want to know what the long term is for PlayStation. But to see those two games back to back as a part of this overall presentation, I thought was excellent. And like all of you, when I watched that Silent Hill, what was it, short story or short message trailer, yeah, I was like, this looks VRAF.
That's fucking crazy. Like the fact that didn't end with playable on PSVR2 was insane. But actually, I downloaded this first flat screen game I'm going to play in a while here modern flat screen game I'm going to play in a while. I downloaded Short Message, and but Sonic was streaming it on our Discord last night, and it took him 2.5 hours to get through. It is a free game, and he said it was great. He really enjoyed it. And so it doesn't
feel like a demo per se. That's cool.
It doesn't sound like it. And so like I am super excited to check this out. Graphically, it looked phenomenal. I was like, for a free game, man. I was like, what's the point? Why didn't they sell it for like $10 or something? I mean, not that I think that he should have sold a 2.5 hour game for $10, but like, what's the idea here? Are they just so intent on like reminding people, hey, Silent Hill is back? And maybe this is just a great marketing scheme to like get it into gamers' hands. And so, then when Silent Hill 2 remake comes along, they say, hey, remember that Silent Hill game that you just played? Like, wasn't that really good? Like, don't you want to know where like the origins of this franchise like came from? Like that kind of stuff. Like maybe, but like it's just kind of surprising like that. Like it looks like a lot of money was put into this. Production values look great, and they just gave it away. It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. And I understand also they wouldn't have wanted this to have a PSVR2 mode, because it'd be like, does Sony only do PSVR2 horror games?
I wish.
I wish, yeah. There is a game that's trending on the PlayStation homepage at the moment, because it was the Poppy Playhouse horror game.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Mm.
I think it's called Poppy Playtime. It's like one of these Five Nights at Freddy's style horror games in terms of the audience it's for. I'm like, there has to be a VR mode come for that eventually. But we won't go into that now. But like, there's just so much stuff that can still come to VR. But look, as you said on your post coverage, if we didn't know the leak about Metro, it would have been phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? And it's very easy that we always, now we know the leak, we now need to see something extra. And it's like, no, this is just the environment we live in now, where stuff gets leaked early, and it shouldn't, and we just have to keep that in mind. So we had two really, solid shows.
Yeah. I think that the fact that everybody knew that Metro was a thing, and that everybody knew it was coming, and it had been leaked so heavily, and it'd been rumored so heavily, and then completely leaked day before. That takes a lot of the wind out of their sails, and as from Sony's standpoint, from Vertigo's standpoint, from the gamers' standpoint, from the viewers, it's not good for anybody, man. Like I like these state of plays being like Christmas, right? You're like, I'm going to go downstairs and see what's under the tree, right? I don't want to fucking know. I don't want my parents to have been like, hey, we just bought you whatever you told us to buy you. Like then you open up the package and you're like, oh yeah, I guess I knew this. So even though it's the coolest thing ever, we knew about it. So I don't know, man. I wish leaks are boring. And there's definitely a big part of me that wishes they would stop. So, all right, man. Well, listen, we got a couple more tips here, and then we're going to get to some of our bigger conversations. Next tip comes to us from Mako XL with the Canadian $20 tip. Says, "Shut up and take my 2024 money." Then Myles Dyer doing a great job, sir. Not a good job, a great job.
Thank you, good sir.
Must be Friday night. Thank you, Mako. Darth Vader, the Game Cat with the $2 tip, says, "Hello, my friends." Hello, Vader. How are you?
Hello.
All right, man. So listen, let's knock out the headline real quick. I said that PSVR2 next week. We've got a pretty decent lineup of games coming. So let's start with the one that everybody's obviously excited for. The big one, and that is, of course, Bartender Simulator is getting a PSVR2 remaster. That'll be out on February 8th. Tell me how excited you are, Myles. I bet it's a whole lot.
I never played it on PSVR. But one thing I'm definitely thinking about is it's going to have better tracking. I'm definitely going to give it a go. But no, am I excited for it? No. But to be fair, we've got so many games coming out this week. Yeah. That could be why.
Yeah. Listen, hopefully this is better than it was on PSVR 1. I don't think that... I mean, it wasn't a good game on PSVR 1. Right? Some people are like, "Oh, well, but what about people like me who want to learn how to make drinks?" And I'm like,
does it have objectives in it, Brian? Or is it literally just a sandbox? Oh, it does have objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like, level 1, it teaches you how to make a mojito. Level 2 teaches you how to make this. And so you get customers, and then you have to make this, and you have to make it fast, and you have to make this, and you have to make it fast. And like, listen, it was a terrible game, and it had terrible tracking problems on PSVR 1. So like you'd put your scoop into the ice, and then it would stop tracking. And so when the tracking like kicked back in, ice would just go everywhere. Yeah, because the scoop was over here full of ice, like boom. And so it was terrible. And so this is a game where you're trying not to break glasses. You got a glass that you're filling up with ice. You need good tracking. And so like any amount of goodness that was on that is just inherently in the game was broken because of the terrible tracking. If you want to be a bartender, this isn't how to do it. Okay, go buy a recipe.
What, you don't
book.
get a diploma? You don't get a diploma at the end?
Go buy a recipe book, or go online and learn how to make a bunch of drinks. Go and buy a bunch of booze and buy yourself a nice martini shaker. And learn how to strain ice. I mean, like there's just a bunch of little things that you need to learn to do that this game just isn't gonna teach you. This game sucks. All right. And so
is there a lot of stuff you have to do behind your back in it? Because
like tossing bottles and stuff?
Yeah. The reason I asked that is I do think it has been an issue with PSVR 2. You get it a lot with bow and arrows. As soon as you have to bring the arrow behind your head.
Well, so that's not how you shoot arrows, right?
Down there.
Yeah, like it's all supposed to be in front of you.
Always. I thought. I guess you're right.
It's not supposed to go behind your ear. You're going to lose your ear like that.
I guess it's because when I'm playing Nock, you have to bring it right back. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you just need longer arms so you can do it all in front.
Yeah. Or I need to bring my head back.
Maybe. I don't know. So
anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm interested to give this a go, but then like Star Tenders definitely has its issue in terms of the main core gameplay, but I do think Star Tenders is underrated.
At least there's a game there.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a world building. There's an objective. There's some interesting mini game stuff to it. I like the humor. But I also have to say, Cooking Simulator VR. Feels like it came out a few weeks ago now. It's probably been more than that. I had a really good time with that, and it actually did make me think, actually, I should get, do some actual proper cooking. So it's actually got me doing some proper cooking now. It's obviously not as easy as it is in Cooking Simulator VR. I'm not breaking as many plates in real life.
Right, and you don't.
So that's something.
Clicking on things and having them show up in your kitchens. I mean, that's something we all needed IRL.
But let's hope it has a platinum trophy. Let's find out.
Yeah. We've also got Border Bots coming on February 8th.
Yep. Team 17.
Yep.
This is one that did it keep getting delayed? Is that what happened with it, or it just didn't have a date? I can't remember because it was spoken about ages ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say keep getting delayed. I would say that it was supposed to be out in, I believe, December or November or December, and then like right around the beginning of that month, they said, by the way, now it's coming. It'll be out in February now. So I don't think it kept getting delayed. I think it just got a big delay, but I have no idea why. So, dude. Listen, there could be a good game here, and I'm really and I feel really really bad when I kind of shit on games that all sort of just have this job simulator look to them, you know. But again, it's like sort of the same structure of when you're in Job Simulator and you're running the convenience store, and people come up to the counter, and this is what they want, and you got to do these silly little mini game type things in order to do what they need. When you're running the car mechanic shop, and you got to take care of people's cars, this just looks like yet another mini game in Job Simulator, and it could be fucking great, but I haven't played it. This is just the impression that I'm getting from the trailers.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are any other PSVR games that Team 17 have published before. Team 17 publish really good games. They do everything from Overcooked to Moving Out, Dredge. Obviously, they did the Worms. God, man, do a Worms VR game. Come on, Team 17.
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I mean, I feel as a publisher, this is something they're going with because they have a lot of confidence with it. So I have to wait and see. I'm curious to see. I know there was discussion when it was first announced about, problematic subject matter, but like I have no idea, man. Like, gonna give it a go and we'll check it out. It could be a good
robots
time.
Are problematic.
Yeah, the robots themselves are problematic. Yeah, yeah. So this is an example of a game where I don't feel, and to be fair, I think just fatigue of how many PSVR2 games. A lot of people are always like, how hyped are you feeling about stuff? Yeah. Whether it was Metro or Legendary Tales, both of them I didn't have a particularly strong emotional feeling for. Even Death Stranding 2, I loved the first game. Absolutely loved it, was super hyped for it. I watched that and went, this looks batshit crazy, and like I'm sure I'm gonna have a good time. Just a lot of times I see trailers now, I just don't feel a lot anymore because I think we just go through this constant cycle. And also I'm in a privileged position where I'm going to get to play it, and then we'll find out, and then we'll let you know. So, I think it's quite difficult to know with this game because, as you say, at first glance, it looks like a lot of what we've seen before. But there's a lot of VR games that we have seen before that end up still being an amazing time. So, yeah,
100%, and that's the kind of the thing to remember, I guess, is that like, I mean, if anyone judged Ancient Dungeon and based on the trailer, they'd be like, man, we've seen this shit like 1,000 times, right? Like it just, it's like it's got a Minecraft art style. It's yet another roguelite, but here I am like giving it the best possible score. Like it's one of my favorite games of the past year, ranking up there with Village and RE4. And so, yeah, it's important to not be too judgmental in him. And I say that while I'm sitting here going, this game looks terrible. So, I know how difficult it is to not pass judgment before you played it.
It does have a floating robot in it that talks to you and probably gives you a tutorial on that. So it's nice to see some new things.
Of that. Yeah. What are your feelings on Dead Hook? This is Joyway's Doom-inspired roguelite. This is also coming out, shocker, February 8th. If you're not picking up on the trend here, all of the games coming out this week or next week are coming out on the 8th.
It's by the developers that made Stride. Yep. Or am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
I was very late to playing Stride. Look, I'm a massive Doom fan. The music, the look, it just screams Doom more and more the more you see it. I was just saying a moment ago, there's not a lot of games that I particularly feel anything strong for. This is one I saw and went, no, this is my kind of jam. So I am very hyped for this game. I'm looking forward to having a really good time with it. So yeah, this is a Let's Play I'm very excited for this week.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, listen, the fact that it's got the grappling mechanics are so pronounced in this. I mean, the game's called Dead Hook. I'm assuming the hooks they're talking about are the hooks you shoot and swing around on. That's the thing that made Jupitergrad special. That's the thing that made Windland special. Right. So when you kind of take that and you bring it into this whole Doom-like setting, sounds pretty special. Sounds pretty fun. So we'll definitely be talking about this a whole lot more next week. You're going to be doing a stream. I should have a review ready for launch.
Nice.
And that's if I don't spend all my time over the next few days playing the final game that's coming out next week, Legendary Tales.
Why would you want to play that?
I don't know. I don't know, Myles. But I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Listen, I'm going to tell you a couple things, and I'm going to tell you as many things as I can without breaking embargo. One, I hate this trailer. I think this trailer's fucking terrible.
I didn't. Oh, well, actually, I'll say my bit about the trailer later.
Okay.
But
let me put it this way. I feel like the trailer. And maybe, maybe I wasn't paying attention to if there was any voiceovers. Maybe if I was listening and, like really paying closer attention, I would have understood more. But this trailer to me makes it look like, oh, hey, this is another swordsman. This is another Hellsplit Arena. This is another Blade and Sorcery. And clearly, you can look at Steam reviews, and it's not. It is 100% not. It is a full-fledged RPG with RPG mechanics that has a ton of content. And again, we're not going to break embargo, but Myles and I played it all fucking day today. All fucking day.
And last night.
And all last night.
Do you want to jump into it? And I was at 2 a.m. and I was like, I should probably go to sleep. And all I was thinking in bed was, we should play some more tomorrow.
Yeah. And so, I mean, listen, like you look at the Steam reviews, everybody's saying on Steam that there's, even in the early access build that everyone's had for the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, people are talking about having like 30, 40, 50 hours in this thing. Right. And and that's in my goal before, before reviewing it is to have that many hours into this game. So that I can have a proper review. I don't know, man. Like these are bigger PC VR games, right? I saw somebody say something along the lines of like, oh yeah, people are getting excited about a 2-year-old PC VR game, and I was like, it's been in early access for a very long time, for 2 years. But that just means it's been in development for like even longer, right? If you're going to be bringing PC VR games over to PlayStation VR2, I think these are the ones we want. These are the ones that were not rushed out, that were not shovelware, the ones that have spent a shitload of time in development. I'm just I don't know, Myles. I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts on this next week.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer again now. Yeah, when to be fair, when I saw this, I kind of switched off the moment I saw the trailer on State of Play, and I hate to say that. And I thought, okay, it's a game, and as always, I'll give it a go, and I'll probably be pleasantly surprised. But it seems to have cut through because I've spoken to people who aren't primarily VR gamers, PlayStation folk, who may have VR headsets and stuff but don't play it a lot, and people were just really enthusiastic about the bit in it where you're punching the skeleton to pieces and slamming it into a table and stuff like that. Now, I hope this isn't breaking embargo, because I think you could find out from all the PC versions and that, but like, I've not experienced that. Like, we've played a lot of it. That part of the like doing that to a skeleton, I've not done yet. And it's kind of funny that that's what everyone goes on about in the trailer. And it's like, I should probably do some due diligence. And before you do your review, Brian, you should make sure that you throw a skeleton through the table.
For sure.
Just so, does it feel as good as it does on the trailer? But actually watching the trailer now, and we've put quite a few hours into it. And again, not giving any value judgments or anything. Right. There is stuff on this trailer, like mechanics taking place, that I didn't even realize, or I forgot that you could do. Like, there's a lot to this game, which is why we're trying to sink a lot of time into this because, you know, there's different stages to a game. There can be a game that's amazing from the get-go, but then it kind of, but this is all it is. And then there are games that perhaps take a bit to warm up, and there are games that are just like, you know, keep getting better and better as they go along. And so there's definitely a lot of content here. Yeah, the whole throwing the shield and seeing it bounce off everyone, that's badass, man.
Alfonso in the chat is saying that he heard it's running at 90 FPS, and that is 100% true. The developers have been actually. Listen, guys, if you want to talk to the developers, they've been very transparent on our Discord. So click the link in the description. Go join our Discord. We have a Legendary Tales channel. Go in there. They're answering your questions. They're talking about the porting process. They're talking about all sorts of shit. They're talking about, you know, dynamic foveated rendering, why it's so important, and so. Yeah, it's not a secret. It does run at 90 FPS on PSVR2.
The devs have been very forthright about stuff. I saw someone link, I think it was like a Reddit post, because someone had commented, I can't remember where they were saying, I think it was on the YouTube video where the trailer is, they said, wait for review. And someone responded, actually, no, it wasn't, maybe it was on Twitter. But someone basically said, yeah, no, that's what the devs say. And they quoted the devs on Reddit who literally said, we've given copies out to YouTubers and that's to cover it because we believe you should wait for reviews.
Yeah, they said the exact same thing on our Discord. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there you go. I respect that. Massive respect. And it also shows a confidence. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and there's so much to talk about with this game. There's so much to talk about. So embargo is up on next week. I don't know if the embargo date is embargoed. So, but listen, I'm sure, Myles, considering that you're the one that I've been spending all my time with in this game, you know, and really, really hoping that I get Wes and AJ in there simultaneously. I'd love to be out there running around with four of us with that Parole crew, just, you know, taking down skeletons and shit. But I think you and I will definitely have a nice long conversation about Legendary Tales next Friday.
Oh yeah, we'll be Friday. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So I think there are three. So there are 3 games coming out on Thursday, the 8th.
There's 4 games. 4 games, including Bartender Simulator. Yeah.
Oh, that was it. So I'll probably do 3 Let's Plays, or maybe I'll do 2 and 2. I feel like I've got to do Legendary Tales, Dead Hook, and Border Bots on the Thursday, but I might knock one of them back to Friday and do 2 and 2. We'll wait and see. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot to get my teeth into. So fun.
So I want to blast through a couple of news stories because I think there's a couple important ones to talk about. Not that there's a lot to say about them, but the first one comes to us from Gaijin Entertainment. If you guys didn't know, Gaijin Entertainment is making Aces of Thunder. That's their War Thunder spinoff, just like the aerial fighting. And dude, to my knowledge, it's crazy. Every time they talk about this game, they're calling it a PlayStation VR2 game. It doesn't seem to be coming to Steam. There's no mention of it coming to Quest. I have no idea why this game exists, right? Other than maybe Sony paying for this, as they've been doing for everything else, kind of secretively. But so I think every time we've seen these trailers, we've been like, damn, this game looks really good. Well, it turns out they've been testing it. It's pretty much almost done. It's almost done. The development cycle is almost over. And they said they've been testing it dusk to dawn, I believe they said. And it's running at a solid 90 FPS native on PSVR2. So not only does it look good, dude, you could have bet me 20 pizzas. I would have said, absolutely, this is absolutely going to... Well, you know, like one a week or something. You know, you don't have to pay up all
20 pieces is amazing.
And plus, I would have lost the bet. You'd have pizzas for like half a year, Myles.
Oh my God.
I would have absolutely bet that this was running reprojected, just because of the level of detail and how great everything looks. So this is running at 90 FPS, and I think that's fantastic. I hope we see more of that over the next year.
Yeah, amen to that.
What other news stories do we have that are worth bringing up here? Yeah, dude. Okay, let's talk about Ghostbusters. You and I jumped into the free Slimers Ghost Hunt DLC.
Couldn't stop laughing at Brian because he could look like Slimer. He actually was going around as Slimer, and I couldn't stop laughing because with the eye tracking as well, seeing the eyeballs moving around. Oh my god!
Listen, the new costumes are pretty fucking dope. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Right. Floating around the Slimer, running around in a Marshmallow Man costume. Not even as the Marshmallow Man, just the Marshmallow Man costume with the head that's like wobbly and shit when you move.
Yeah, and this is the Slimer's Ghost Hunt, which. You do need to go to the PlayStation Store, do a free. It's like a separate download, but it's like 135 kilobytes.
Right.
So when you update the main game, you'll be doing the main update there. I've seen the video now. Yeah, because Brian was doing the capture, I then went to Slimer just so you could see it. It just looks amazing. It's so good. Yeah, the animations are good. This is just the thing about Ghostbusters. It's such. I have so many mixed feelings about this game because there's so much that is just like End Dreams are just top of the class, you know, when it comes to VR. Like, it looks great in the headset. I think the animation style is really, really great. The weapons look and feel good. There's great sound and everything. But when it just comes to core gameplay mechanics, and I think I'm going to kind of like cut to the chase in terms of this game mode.
Yeah.
I was bored, so bored.
It's so boring. Everything about this game is boring. They keep introducing new game modes, and guess what? Those are boring too. Dude, being a Ghostbuster is something we all dreamed about as kids. Growing up watching Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the real Ghostbusters cartoon, we dreamed about being a Ghostbuster. And as it turns out, it's the most boring fucking job on the face of the planet, outside of being a YouTuber, kid. Sorry to tell you, it's not a fun job.
Well, this is the thing I always bring it back to is when I've played Ghostbusters, Rise of the Ghost Lord, and kids have joined in the lobby, and I see kids getting into character and having the most amazing time. I genuinely think this is what it is. It's not aimed at us. I was a massive Ghostbusters fan, and I do feel like when I was playing this mode, I do feel like this is just Brian and me in this world, and we're like, whatever. If we'd actually this is not an excuse, by the way. I think games shouldn't require you to commit to like method acting. But like, I do kind of feel like if we were in there and maybe had been a bit more like, you know, instead of having a voice chat where maybe I had the mix a bit stronger on just us chatting and I didn't have the music loud enough, so I was in the atmosphere, I might have felt a bit more immersed. But honestly, the game mode, the mechanic is you're basically going around this big house and you're scanning slime everywhere, and the PK meter is just going off the chart no matter where you're looking. And in the end you're just like blasting all the shells. I'm just seeing the Stay Puft costume on the thing. So yeah, and it's how I felt with the heist, the gold one and stuff like that. God. But as I say, like, I don't know,
so bad.
Young kids might be absolutely loving this, and if so, then fair play. It's just not done it for me. And I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I think it's because this game, before we'd even, as you're starting it, you're like, all right, I know what I'm going to be doing for the next 10 minutes. Like, that was it, wasn't it? And that is the feeling. There's no real suspense. It was, you're finding all the slime, and then you're following Slimer, and it's like, oh, you got to get a fuse to unlock that door. We've done all this before.
Wait, these levels are all the missions, all the modes in Ghostbusters VR were designed for replayability, right? It's like, oh, now you're going to go do an exorcism, now you're going to go do an infestation, now you're going to go do this and that, right? And there are slight variations on the theme. But it's meant to be played and replayed and replayed and replayed. Can you imagine doing this again?
I do think this is a one-off experience, but
but it's almost like, what's the point? Because it took 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Like, they've probably spent a lot of time and effort and money doing something that like wasn't very interesting, and that I'm never gonna want to do again. Like, I think at this point we have to just have to say this isn't Ghostbusters VR. Rise of the Ghost Lord isn't going to get better. That like it's gotten 3-4 updates, it's gotten 3 new modes, it's gotten new costumes, it's gotten all sorts of new shit, and it's still the core gameplay is fucking boring. And I feel bad for saying that, but it just is. You said you were conflicted about this game. I'm not. Like
I didn't say I feel conflicted on how I feel about it overall. Like overall, I'm just like I haven't had much fun with it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is there are conflicting aspects where End Dreams does a lot of really great things with this. But the core gameplay isn't fun. And look, I'm just going to go back what I said when we were originally like reviewing the game. There are 2 things which are related that End Dreams could do, which would have given this so much more life, because the game plays like a live service game. You're jumping back in and you're replaying the same missions again and again to follow the grind. And there's a lot of unlockables and upgradables, which is great. But the 2 things are related. Firstly, well, actually, no, it's all the same thing. It's randomization within the levels. So there are levels like Harvester, where you've got to, at the beginning of the level, you've got to find these harvester canisters that you then plug into the big harvester machine, and you've got to fill them up with ghosts that you capture, and then you take them back to the Ecto 1. But every time you play Harvester on a particular map, the canisters that you have to find are always in the same place. A simple randomization that they're in different places every time. Yep. So you've actually got to find it. It would give length, like, and replayability, or a greater degree of replayability for that game mode. Because every time it's like, oh yeah, one's there, let's do that, and then let's get out of here. And then I think the thing that would have made a massive difference is the exorcism mode. I don't know what the randomization was like with the items, but you have these, I'm going to say there are 3 plimps, maybe 4. I think there are like 3 plimps, and you use your PK meter to find particular items that you bring back because they're possessed. You connect them up, and then it opens up a portal, and then you fight a boss. It's actually a really cool mechanic, but it's the same boss every single time. Randomization. If there were like 5 different bosses, so as you're doing it, you're like, who are we going to be fighting against? And then the boss appears, and then let's say there are different modifiers. So the boss has different, so every time you fight him, you're not sure what you're up against. These are ways that you actually add replayability to the framework that you've done. There is a lot of good stuff happening with this game, but these last 2 modes that we had this obviously Slimer Hunt, and then we also had the Heist and Seek. Infestation. Have we had Infestation yet, or is that to come out?
No, that came out.
Oh my god, what was Infestation? I am so...
It was boring.
Say again?
It was boring.
I know it was boring, but I was like, what was it? I can see this is it. It's unmemorable. So I feel like they're adding these game modes, and it's like the things that I've just mentioned now. Okay, the canister randomization less much, but like the bosses thing, because you fight that same boss in the end boss as well. And like the very end boss of Ghostbusters: Ride the Ghost Lord is epic. When the sound was working and stuff like that, like you're against this epic boss. It kind of made me feel like the sort of the jeopardy that you faced doing the end boss on the Master System Ghostbuster game, where you feel like, oh god, if I die, we've got to do all of this again.
Right. Master System, it was epic. By the way, great version. Yep. Yeah, really good, man. So yeah, I say this out of huge love. I've platinumed the game. I grinded it. And the reason I do feel conflicted is because I know what End Dreams can do. They've got a great IP. They said there's more stuff coming, but for me, it's like the answer is not adding more game modes, which feel more of the same. It's like you could literally do more with the existing game modes to make them more varied and interesting and dynamic. Dynamic's the word I was after. This is what the problem is with the game. It doesn't feel dynamic in terms of its game modes. It feels very one note. You go into it and you go, this is exactly what we're going to do, and we're done. And they need more variation, maybe more enemy types, modifiers, things that just keep you on your feet. I don't feel challenged playing this game. And feeling challenged is a big part of engagement. And again, maybe it's not aimed at me, but then I'm like young kids these days. You see how they are at Fortnite and all these games. Kids are very good at computer games. They have good reaction times. They can play difficult stuff. Yep.
That is my main takeaway from Ghostbusters, and I think it's been made more evident with these updates. Slimer, I'd put on a separate category because I kind of feel like it's just been done as a kind of separate experience. It's not, although it is portrayed as an alternate, like, it's in where the boss battle is on the map in the main area. You just click the right button and it's called Slimer Hunt. I kind of feel like that's not where it should be positioned. I feel like Slimer Hunt should be like on the wall as a poster or something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like a kind of an experience kind of mode. But I don't know. Those are just some of my thoughts.
Yeah, it's I guess I've just completely lost hope. You know, not that I ever thought they could really turn this around, but I think it really became apparent when we were waiting for those fixes and stuff like that. And to be honest, when they first announced new DLC, I think you and I were like, okay, let's see what this is. But since then, even the Slimer thing, which I thought, oh, cool, you get to see Slimer in the game, I wasn't looking forward to it particularly. And I went into this going, let's see what they've done. There's a new movie coming out. They got a big push, and they do have some other big surprises coming out, they say. But for me, it's like until they fix those core mechanic issues. And again, I'm not asking them to, well, I don't know, I'm not a dev. I'm just like, they just got to add a few more bosses. Okay, that is going to add a lot of development, I guess. But it's just like, yeah. I don't know. I feel it's an example of a game that I just feel frustrated with, because I just feel like there's so much here that works well. Just like there are some easily identifiable ways that this could have been improved. And it doesn't seem to be. Like with every one of these DLCs, it should be one of the and it's a new boss. Slimer's now one of the bosses on Exorcism mode. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Mako XL with the Canadian $5 tip says, it's Friday night and I quit drinking. Good night. That sounds like something a sober person would say. Yeah. Dead Ringer, the Game Cat, Slee Stack with the $20 tip says, Little Ringers are having leftover pizza, so here, get yourself a fresh one. Happy Friday. Thank you so much, Dead Ringer. Say hi to the Little Ringers for me. Macho, the real estate procrastinating Game Cat with the $2 tip says, don't sleep on Cookin' Sim VR. Slap them meats.
It's so good, man.
Macho follows it up with another $2 tip says, slap your meat up on the counter. Feels so good. In it.
Does, with the wood chopping board.
In it.
Yeah, it's good.
In it. And then fifth with the Australian $2 tip says, have you tried Cube yet, Brian? I have not tried Cube VR yet. That was the developers were talking about that coming out in January, and then they said, we're just getting through Sony certification, and we don't want to rush it out onto the store. We want people to review the game. We want people to have YouTubers to be able to do streams and impressions and stuff. And so that based on that, they said they were going to delay it till February, and here we are in February. I've not heard a whisper. So it will be interesting. I mean, it's not like the developers haven't been communicating. They were very, very active. Stone Brick Studio, I believe. They were here. I think it must have been a Monday show. I think it was me and AJ, giving everybody all the information, and basically doing an AMA in our chat. So they've been around and they're talking about their game, but I maybe it's just not through cert yet. That's my guess. Myles, something that's not even on our run of show. You and I played some Nock today.
Yes, yeah, we did. I've been wanting to get you in it just to see the social space and stuff. And I think that now we've had a lot of games come out since Nock. Going back in it, I was just curious to hear your thoughts, because it does look good in the headset. Movement feels great. But I'm not really going to say much more. Like they've added a social space in the last couple of months. Yep. That has a lot to go on, and we really whizzed around it. I was like, as soon as Brian started going on one part, I was like, and come over in and you can see this, and then we did all the miniature sort of golf-esque course things. But what were your thoughts about it, Brian?
I mean, I think it's really cool that this exists at all. It's obviously not something that they had to do, but I do think something that you were going on about when we were kind of exploring the area, and you were telling me all this stuff, different stuff you could be doing. You said multiple times, you're like, and you can be doing all this while you're waiting for a game to start, right? So you never really feel like you're just sitting in a lobby somewhere. It's never going to be called a lobby sim ever, right? Because there's just a ton of shit to do. I don't know why I'm just standing here and just pelting these balls into a hole. But obviously there's basketball.
Because you can, Brian.
Because you
That's
can.
it. That's the social space. You can. There's a big number there. And why have it at 756 when you can have it at 757?
Right. And so, I mean, yeah, it's a very cool social space. There was a bunch of kids running around and stuff. And yes, we didn't see the whole thing. But there was like a driving range with, some different goals to get into. And but the thing that Myles brought me into this for was for the mini golf stuff. And you'll see here that we started off on the really, really easy stuff. It's like just there's a goal on the other side, and you're ranked based on the number of arrows you shoot and how long it takes you to get it into the goal. And dude, I thought so. Obviously, we start off here, and it's fairly simple. You can usually get the ball.
But can I just say, Brian, considering he's not played this for a long while, did very, very well. Like Nock, he makes this look easy. Nock is not an easy game. Kind of like Rocket League. The exact angle you hit the ball, it will go off on that trajectory. Like Brian was doing a lot of these in one. So
I got a couple of really good shots right off the bat, and Myles was stroking my ego. And and then moments later, it became very clear how much I sucked at this. Because dude, so the ones we're showing right now are just like, as you can see, very, very straightforward. It's like, oh, you just shoot it up the hill and then into the goal. But dude, one of the coolest ones that you showed me was way, way, way later on. And is this what we have now? Yes.
You're thinking about the obstacle course.
Yeah, I'm showing the obstacle course now. And so you can't hit any of these red bars. Like, so everything Myles had shown me was you spawn right behind the ball, and then you see the goal over here, and you try to get the ball into the goal. In this one, you spawn on the other side of the obstacle course, and you yourself have to make it through the obstacle course to get to your ball and then to get it into the goal. And all, of course, within a time limit. And this was fucking cool, man. This was cool. This was a game all on its own. And I see games coming out like Stilt or whatever that like sort of like just have these vibes about them. And I feel like if you guys have, if you already like Nock, if you already own Nock, it's time to get back in Nock and spend some time in these social spaces and play some of these cool mini games. I was really impressed, Myles. I'm so happy you showed me this.
No, I'm glad, man. And it's always difficult because we were literally just doing it for 15 minutes, and it's this Nock is a game that it gets better the more you play it. Like I've literally been playing half an hour a day the last 2 or 3 weeks now, and just when you hit the ball just right and it goes at the right angle in the matches. I mean, we didn't even play any matches, didn't even get to try out volleyball. But as a social space, this is the model that we want to see in VR games. You're in VR. Don't have a menu while you're waiting to connect. You can still do that on Nock. But in this social space, they have a board where you can choose your loadout. So what your character looks like, what the blocks look like, for those that haven't played Nock. So you shoot an arrow, and if you press a button, it turns the arrow into a block. So if the ball's going into the goal, you can get an arrow in front of it, turn it into a block so it knocks it out. And they also have a currency called, I think it's just ball currency. They're these little green coins. And what happens is, every day you log in, you get 100 coins. But if you log 2 days in a row, you get 200 on that second day. You get 300 on the third day, all the way up to 700 on the seventh day. And then every day after that you log in, you keep getting 700 a day. And they have this store with cosmetics for what your bow is, what the blocks are, what your character looks like. They have all of these cosmetics as well as the battle pass. And I believe it's still the case. The battle pass, you have a free one and a premium tier. I believe the premium tier is unlocked for everyone at the moment. You don't need to buy it. So there's a lot of stuff there. But yeah, there's just a lot. And in this like miniature golf course mode, all of this can be done while you're waiting to queue up. So something me and my friends often do is we queue up for another match and we go into the novice course, which is 9 holes. And we see how many holes we can complete before we get pulled into the next game. And then there are high scores for the week and all time, and there's different high scores. One for who completed the course with the least number of arrows. who did it with the least number of fails, who did it in the quickest time. So there's all these different metrics, and I just like when devs do things right, they've got to be congratulated. And as you said, Brian, they didn't need to do this, but in some ways I feel they did, because there's just so much potential in VR, and in VR you're physically present. So don't have people physically present in a lobby. Let the lobby be an interactive world, and I'm really curious to see what they do with this next. So Nock for me is a top 25 title for me personally. I kind of forgot about that in our last discussions, but having jumped back into it, the fact that there are a lot of players playing now, there's a good player base. This game looks great in the headset. I mean, the motion, the way it all works, the mechanics, it's VR AF in every sense of the word. And I'm excited to see what they do next.
Our next top 25 list is going to be insane.
It is.
It's going to be radically different from the last one. There's going to be so many new entries on it. This has been, man. We went for very, very long spurts of time on PSVR1 with most of the top 25 list staying relatively the same. Are we going to do it on the 1 year anniversary? Is that when we're going to do it, or is that too soon? I don't know. I mean, so the fact is I never actually made an edited version of our last top 25 list. So I think the four of us are going to have to kind of get together and talk about how we want to handle the next one. Man, dude, there's a million things we could talk about today, but unfortunately, like we've got, I'm kind of low on time, and I want to edit PSVR this week tonight, because I need to free up my entire weekend in order to keep playing Dead Hook and Legendary Tales. So I don't want to spend all night here, although I would love to. I love 3-hour GAMESCAST as much as the next person.
So we've covered all the headline stuff, so everything else is just bonus for now. So take your pick, Brian. I mean, there is something on the list I think we should cover, maybe the Zenith one.
All right,
talk about that.
You brought up, so we'll do it. But first, Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Game Cat with the $5 tip says, question. Do you like that? Like my voice cracking?
Question.
Yeah. It says, I'm going to finish RE4 this weekend. Congratulations.
Woo.
I hope you had fun with it, because I had a blast with it. Has Vertigo 2 gotten patched? And if so, should I play it for my first-person adventure game? Play it next for my... What's covering up here? Play it next for my first-person adventure game. I haven't been keeping up with Vertigo 2. I've been having... I took a week off. I didn't play any VR during that week. And now that I'm back... I picked up a Quest 3. I did a retro stream yesterday. If you guys aren't subscribed to my retro channel, click the link in the description. I did a retro stream just testing out. I played The Suffering on PlayStation 2. And dude, I can't wait to play a whole bunch more. So I've got like too many irons in the fire right now, and I've got new games to review. So I haven't had a chance to go back and check out Vertigo. I'm assuming neither have you, Myles.
Neither have I. What? Sorry, I was looking at your retro test stream.
Oh, cool.
Well,
you're forgiven only because you were doing that. Everything else is unforgivable.
I'm just subscribed. I'm subscribed, man.
I'm assuming you haven't been back into Vertigo 2 since the most recent patches.
No, I haven't. Like you, I've been sort of waiting for the. I don't know. I keep getting patches, and I do want to go back to it and play it fully, but I wanted to wait until people were like, now it's at a good place.
Yeah.
But do you know what else got a patch this week? It actually happened while you were covering State of Play. Very Bad Dreams just had another update.
Very Bad Dreams gets an update every other day.
It does, but it was a big update.
Dan Kiefer says, when did you make another channel? I don't know, 3 years ago. I think you'd have to check the dates on the channel, but I think it's 3 years old. But anyway, so my apologies for not having up-to-date information on Vertigo. I'll certainly be checking that out, because that is a game that, like, is super creative. Just I think once you finish the game, most people will be in the same boat and be like, wow, that was fucking really creative, and just like not something you see very often in VR. But I would honestly, like, if you can hold out, if there's plenty of other stuff to play, if hopefully it all gets patched up properly, and if it's running at a super silky smooth frame rate, the way that it should, then it's going to be a much better experience for you. So I would hold off, and I'll keep you posted as as I check in on it. So sorry, that's a horrible answer. Fifth with the Australian $2 tip says Professor Lilith said D-Day is Sunday's multiplayer. It is Sunday 2 p.m.
I was just
Eastern.
about to message you that, yeah.
Sunday 2 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be D-Day enhanced, and so it's a free upgrade if you own it on PlayStation 4, on PSVR1, and I think it's only like $15 if you don't own it. 64 player matches, tons of weapons, massive maps.
Super fun,
insane.
man. I keep going every day. I just jump in for a match or two here and there every day, but for a weekend one, if we can get a full lobby, that'd be amazing. And I was first in the world to get the platinum.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you're shocked.
Yeah.
No one? Okay, good. Moving on. 2 p.m. Eastern, guys, Sunday. If you're wondering how to participate, again, just join our Discord. I hate saying it 1,000 times. It sounds like a sales pitch, but that's where everything happens, dude. Honestly, engagement on Without Parole videos has gone way down because no one wants to have a conversation in the comments on YouTube videos. They want to just when everyone's hanging out on Discord actively. That's where to have the conversations about it. That's where they have the conversations about the games and about the videos and about the reviews and about everything that's happening in the world of PSVR2. It's all happening in real time on our Discord, and as the Discord grows, engagement on the channel goes way down. So like me promoting the Discord is actually the worst possible thing I could do for the channel. But you know what? Fuck it. Come hang out with us. I hang out there 24/7. Okay. Yeah, dude. Let's talk about Vertigo. Let's talk about Zenith, the Last City, as our last news story. If you guys didn't know, Zenith hasn't been doing well. What's the deal with Zenith? What's their story lately, Myles?
I know patches of this story, and like it seems like this is the final push they're doing. They have a big update coming out, and we've just had some details come out this week about how it's been delivered, and it's not quite what we're expecting. We just assumed there was a big add-on being done to the main game, but it seems they're taking another strategy. But the background behind it is it hasn't been doing particularly well, and this is their last push. And if it works, great, Zenith will continue, and if not, then they're gonna have to move on. Yeah. And Zenith, I hate to sound repetitive in this live stream, but I mean this in a different one with this game. But I have very mixed feelings about Zenith because when it came out on PSVR, it was at a time where I was job hunting. I was really unwell for a few months, and I was staying at my parents for a while. And Zenith kept me company. I spent 60 hours in that game, and I had the best time. I absolutely loved this game. It was like the best experience. I was like, this is the future of VR. Like, this is what I've wanted, and I had the most amazing time. But as soon as I hit the platinum and sort of got to that end boss, the end game content came out a bit later, and I was like, I came back, and I was like, I need to learn it again. Not really feeling this. I don't really know what to do next. And then I did my Let's Play of it on PSVR2, and I was quite surprised how poor it looked in the headset.
Yeah, performance not great.
Yeah. It was actually, I felt like the game looked better on PSVR. Like that's how it felt.
I know. Like, I agree. I think you're right.
It looked like a great PSVR game. It looked like a top tier PSVR game. It didn't. It looked like a poor PSVR2 game. And clearly there are maybe just resource issues. It takes a lot to port a game to PSVR2 depending on what engine you're using, depending on what's going on in your game. This is a big game.
Yeah. Massive.
Yeah. And so I would be incredibly sad to see this go because I think this is actually a really important game. I think, a lot of people, I didn't speak to this because I never played World of Warcraft, although I know its cultural significance in gaming. But I heard a lot of people talking about, could this become the World of Warcraft for VR? And when I heard people saying that, I thought, yeah, this is something I could see, depending if they keep giving it support. I hope people continue to buy it and stuff. But yeah, they seem to be in trouble. And I'm glad it's not, we're in trouble, please get people to buy our game. It's, we're in trouble, so we're actually going to do one last push.
Right.
And I like that. It's like, we've got all this content, and we've seen what they've done with big pushes before. They've done great updates. They're doing one big push, but they're also saying, this is the make or break it. Like, let's see what we've got. And so, yeah, really, really curious to see. I mean, we've got a blog that we can read, Brian, but yeah, that's kind of my understanding of it. I don't know if there's any gaps there.
No, I think you nailed it. You know, I'm with you, man. I had the best time. It was the first MMO I had played in VR. And you know, you could point to a few other more primitive MMOs that had come out on other platforms, on other VR platforms prior. But I think this one, you know, had the most money behind it. This one had the most, the best chance of succeeding. And I just, you know, absolutely just loved it, man. And especially like, I could see maybe like if you're playing it by yourself and you're just running into the world and not talking to people and like ignoring the MMO aspects, like the multiplayer aspects, maybe it's not. Maybe it didn't deliver for everybody, but like when we basically took over one of the Wave Rider East servers, like that was our server, and you run in there and like immediately it's like just a bunch of GameCasts being like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? What's happening?" You know, we had the biggest guild ever, right? And so like, you know, like we really embraced this game, but then yeah, it's, you know, once you get away from it, I did find it hard to come back to, and hard to be excited about all the new updates and everything. I never even went back in and played the Cyber Ninja class, right? The Cyber Ninja class was something that everybody was excited about. And then I just didn't even bother. I was like, oh, I can't wait to start a new character and start over from scratch and blah, 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 blah. And it was all talk. I was full of shit because I never did it, you know? And so I don't know if that was me, the game, or whatever else was happening in the world of PSVR 1 or 2 at the time. So, but anyway, so the fact is I think your story and my story are relatable. I think a lot of people out there have similar stories with this game. They're like, oh yeah, I bought it, went in, played it, and then I was done. And I haven't come back. And so it's interesting that their solution is to go free to play. And so see, introducing Zenith Nexus in our free to play strategy, there's a lot you can. It's a relatively long, in-depth article, and I'll tell you, I think it's a little bit confusing. I think when they're trying to introduce their free-to-play strategy, maybe making sure that it was very easy to understand would have been a good first step. But so they're calling the whole thing Zenith Nexus, and what that means is you have Zenith: The Last City, the game that we've all played and loved, and that's gonna be there forever. Like it's not going away. But then they have this other thing called Zenith Infinite Realms, and that's they're saying it's season based, it's free to play. They're saying it's procedurally generated action adventure RPG with co-op sessions. Co-op sessions, like I don't even understand. Again, what a weird thing to call it. It's an MMO. A revamped locomotion system that pushed the boundaries of immersive play, redesigned social playground, and more. We'll reveal more later. And so The Last City and Infinite Realms combined together, the whole package is called the Zenith Nexus. And then they say we're introducing these things called Zennies, which are the virtual currency. And it sounds like, so with real life money, you can buy Zennies, I'm guessing, and then you can buy cosmetics with Zennies.
I've always wanted that. I always wanted that in the original game. I was like, I was happy. I was like, I would support them if they have cosmetics that you can buy. I would give them money to support the game, like more. Yeah. And so, they say as a too long don't read section of this blog, a player can hop into Zenith for free and play Zenith Infinite Realms while having the option to purchase Zenith: The Last City as DLC. If you purchase The Last City before Infinite Realms launches, that's still yours to keep and not going anywhere. So anyone that owns the main game, we've still got it. We're also thinking of ways to reward those who played The Last City before Infinite Realms launches. Going free to play will boost the social multiplayer experience The new virtual currency and shop will open an avenue for revenue we never had before. With an arcade-like experience that's more accessible than ever, we're inviting millions of new players to Zenith, Nexus, and potentially The Last City too. Something I will say to this is, and I like this idea about the fact that it's more accessible than ever before. When I jumped back into it on PSVR2, and it's kind of how I felt when I kept jumping back into the game with DLC. I was like, oh man, there's so much to do. Like having to remember how to play stuff. There's so many mechanics. And so if there is this like much more streamlined game, I think that this is great. Like and basically Zenith The Last City is going nowhere. It's still there. It's a DLC. It's a game. So that is not, they're basically releasing just an extra game. But it's free to play, and I think if you like the mechanics of Zenith The Last City, which I definitely did, I'm going to give this a go. And look, it's not for me to tell anyone what to do, but I kind of feel like if you've ever enjoyed Zenith The Last City, I think it's on us as a VR community to give it a shot. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's on us to give it a shot. I think it's on them to make it something we want to play.
Exactly.
And I think we've already discussed the things. Dude, for me to go back in and spend more time with Zenith The Last City, I mean, fuck this Nexus and Infinite, whatever. I need, like, I'm getting very used to games that run at 90 FPS. I'm getting very used to games that look really good in a headset, that don't stutter, that like have a nice resolution to them, like that, like take advantage of the PSVR2 headset, take advantage of the Sense controllers. This does not do that yet. And so, like, I feel like the PSVR2 version was kind of a quick and dirty port job. And they need to give the PSVR2 version more love before I'm going to go invest time in Infinite Realms and see what that's all about. I'm just not interested, man. Like, this is, they've had a lot of time and a lot of money to make this game look and play well on PSVR2. And so far they've not done that. So, I'm tapping out for now.
Fair enough.
You know, if I hear that they've get some PSVR2 specific patches out there, then I will dive back in because again, I loved this game when it came out. I got my $30 worth. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I got a review key, but if I had paid $30 for it, like it was a fucking steal at $30. And if they had never updated it even once, I would have felt like I got my money's worth based on the 60 hours I spent in that world. You know, you don't get $60 VR games very frequently. 60-hour VR games. That's what I meant to say. Yep. So, I mean, they had it was their game to lose, and unfortunately, I think they dropped the ball, man. I'm combining sports metaphors, and I don't think it worked out very well. Yeah. All right, man. I think we got a couple more tips, and then we can play some 20 questions. Did you pick out a game? Because you're hosting.
I can pick one out now.
Pick it out, because Fluke, the Swedish game cat, with the 50 Sekiros, said, "Good evening, YouTube loyal game cats. LOL.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good eve to you."
Amazing. Steve Nardo in the chat says, "Sick of PSVR2 haters. Best group of games in 1 year I've ever experienced. Yes, some crap games, but I'm very happy with my purchase. Spread good word on our headset cats." Dude, for real. And I think that's what everyone has to remember. Yes, there's been some crap games, but you know what? The majority of every video game library from the beginning of time, you go back to the original Atari consoles, you go to the NES even, you go to the Super Nintendo. I mean, like some really high quality systems, right? PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. Dude, I would say 30% of the games on every platform are garbage. 50% are average. And then that leaves 20% to be really good or awesome. Right? And so the fact is we've gotten way more than our fair share of good to awesome games over the last year on PSVR2, and we haven't even hit the year mark. We are, I think, extremely lucky. The VR industry has not taken off like people expected it to. Like Sony, I think Sony expected it to. I think most people expected PSVR2 to hit the ground with Gran Turismo 7 and a brand new Horizon game, Resident Evil Village, like the hybrid promise, like coming to fruition, and just, high quality games. People are like, this is going to take VR to the next level, and people are going to adopt it. And then people didn't adopt it. Yet we're still getting banger after banger. So is it Steve? I 100% agree with you. Keep spreading the love, and for real, hold the people who are spreading the lies accountable, because there are people who are constantly saying PSVR2 doesn't have any games. It's all Quest ports, right? And make sure you correct them. Let them know that these Quest ports are phenomenal versions of what were once okay games.
And a lot of the issues with like first party games is an issue that the flat screen part of Sony's strategy is happening as well. The point is, Sony and the gaming industry overall is going through a tough time. We had a massive bubble from the pandemic, and unfortunately we're having lots of layoffs taking place left, right and centre the past year. There's a massive realignment happening in the gaming industry, and it just means that I think, in some ways things went well. Like during the pandemic, the amount of PS5s, they couldn't meet supply. They've been selling lots. But on the flip side, it means that, the economy is bad for everyone. Having a PSVR2 is a massive investment.
It's so expensive.
It's a massive investment.
Yep.
And also, we didn't have a show last week, but it's something I've seen a lot of discussed lately regarding how well the Quest is selling compared to the PSVR2. I think it's interesting to look at the numbers on both sides, but I don't think it's a fair comparison. And that's not me dodging the bullet trying to make cover for Sony and PlayStation. Like, PlayStation VR has not sold as well as I think we'd all like it to happen. But the reality is, Quest is a much more consumer-friendly product in terms of, if kids want to get a VR headset and their parents are looking, get a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 is a lot cheaper, and it's a standalone headset. Having a PS5 and a PSVR2 is a massive, massive investment. And so that's always going to be working against Sony and PlayStation with these efforts. So that's just the reality. It doesn't take away from the fact that we're not even at the full year yet. And there are so many excellent games. And most of us are hardcore VR gamers. I still haven't played all the top class games that I want to get through yet, and I play a lot of VR, so there's that as well. Just keep being advocates. Everyone's really good advocates in the community. Always make the positive case. Don't get sucked into negativity. Always respond to negativity with a positive answer. And what I mean by that is, if people are saying, where are the games, it's not, well, shut up or you're lying, but actually go, no, actually these are the games that I really enjoy.
Yeah,
and and that's it, because that's a part of how we make the case for people and get the word out there. Because Sony relies on this amazing community to make this a success. And I know that a lot of devs of some of games that we enjoy, they've all struggled with sales. Like it's just been a struggle overall. There's so much competition. And you see even in the flat screen space, there's been a lot of talk about Suicide Squad. Rocksteady, massive game developer that's renowned for the Arkham Knight series, and which I haven't played, but I know very well of, getting absolutely slated in the reviews. It's their first game in 9 years, I think it is. It's a live service game, which there's a lot of pressures there. Obviously, Sony's had pressures with live service games and stuff. There's a lot of realignment going on in the gaming industry, a lot of risks that have been taken, and you can't sort of take successes for granted. And even when things are successful in terms of a great game being made, it doesn't necessarily mean economic success as well. And so it's why we need to keep making the positive case and keep supporting the developers that do take those extra steps to support this platform that we all love.
Right. And I do think, to just kind of piggyback on what you're saying, a lot of people don't understand the VR industry. And I think it took a lot of us a long time to learn the VR industry. And I'm talking about everybody that's hanging out here. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about because we say, well, why can't we have this? Why can't we have that? Why isn't every game playable in VR? Why isn't BioShock in VR yet? Right? And it's just it takes a lot of time and a lot of money and a commitment from so many different people to make each of these things happen, and bring them to release. And so I think so frequently when people say, where are the games? What they're really saying is, where's Call of Duty? Where's Grand Theft Auto? Where are the games that I'm familiar with? Right. And so, and so say, man, it's like, maybe you've never heard of this game, but it's phenomenal. Maybe you've never heard of this game, but it's phenomenal. And I know that VR is not going to really catch on until it has the number and the frequency of AAA games that the flat screen space has. That's just a fact of life. The number of comments I get on Without Parole from people who just fucking hate indie games, like literally just hate indie games. And I'm like, if you hate indie games, VR is not the space for you, or it is, but you're only going to play 2 games a year, right? So like that's on you though, right? If you're not willing to experiment and see like what else is out there other than the thing that you came here looking for. So it's you got to be a little empathetic and understanding like where a lot of the negativity is coming from. Saying people who don't understand the industry, people who don't understand VR, and are looking for games that they're familiar with, and so it's a little bit of a. You got to teach, I think, sometimes when you get out there and talk about VR, you got to teach people like what's been going on for the last 7-8 years. And that's not easy because not a lot of people want to listen. They just want what they want and an end of story. So just be patient and I don't know. Just try to be patient.
Patience is absolutely, and being an educator in the space is very important too. And I'm very careful the way I word this, but it's like, it's not telling people why they're wrong. It's telling people why you're right or how you're right. And that doesn't mean, hey, I'm right for this reasons, but like make the positive case. I have a lot of people, friends in the industry that do have PSVR2 headsets. It's not their go-to medium. And what I do is I actually create like lists of games specifically for them, and I'll put little descriptions of it going, these are the games that I think you'll like for these reasons. Nock, you like Rocket League, so I think you'd like this. For example, we just have to do a bit more heavy lifting because, as we always say, some of the best VR experiences aren't tied to popular IP, and so you have to do a bit more heavy lifting there as well. There's exactly. A lot more risk in VR. Not only with the fact that it's an expensive headset to begin with, but yeah.
All right, man. Now that we've lost everybody, my fault. I definitely went on a rant.
No, that was good,
real quick, we got King Rollo, the cartoon games cat. I don't know why that was so tough to say. I'm sorry. With a level 1 membership, says Sunday multiplayer. Time to get my ass handed to me. Just watch out for Geisen.
Okay.
Because Geisen will kick your ass, and you'll never even see him on the battlefield. Like he'll just snipe you fucking constantly. He's dangerous. Mad Vegan with the $2 tip says C-Smash half off right now. Let's fill the lobbies. Wow. That sounds like a pretty good deal. C-Smash is a lot of fun, and especially now that they've actually delivered on everything they promised that was supposed to be their launch. I feel like
they've even got high score modes and stuff like that. Yeah, C-Smash I went on during the day and there wasn't anyone on, and I do want to go back on. So like 2 games I probably would say, can we get at least up for vote for Sunday multiplayers? Actually, there's 3 games: Ragnarok, Nock, and C-Smash. Those are games that I'd at least like to see being put up for vote, because those are the kind of games that I think would benefit from a surge of game cats going on at the same time. And it doesn't necessarily mean we have to do it as a Sunday multiplayer, but yeah, C-Smash I definitely want to play some people with, so that'd be good.
Well, one of the things I wanted at launch with C-Smash was the co-op mode. I wanted to get in there and play two, because like playing against somebody's fine, but like playing with somebody even better. And so, so now that that's there, I definitely want to get in and spend some time with it. And dude, for half off, like not telling anybody what they should charge for their game, but they were charging way too much to begin with, and half off sounds like a pretty damn good price.
And also they've got, when I did go in there while I was waiting for connecting with someone that never happened, you can actually play against bots while you're waiting. And I realised how out of practice I was with that game. It's the one where you got to get the ball through the little square, and every time you miss, it gets bigger and bigger. The bot kept beating me. I think it was on the easiest mode as well, and I was not scoring anything. I am terrible at that game. I need to get back into it.
All right, dude, you got a game picked out?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Everybody in the chat, please help me out. You know how this works. We got 20 questions, 20 yes or no questions, and only 6 minutes on the clock to figure out what PSVR1 or PSVR2 game Myles is thinking of. Please, I need all the help I can get. I swear if it wasn't for the cats, I would never, ever, ever get it. I basically, the last 30 seconds is just me looking at the chat going, that one?
Me too, dude.
So, mark. Get those. Go. Listen, let's just start off with the normal question. Is this on PSVR 2?
Yes, it is, Brian.
Oh, this never happens on a Monday.
Always happens on a Friday.
AJ doesn't pick easy games. Was it ever on PSVR 1?
Yes, it was.
Whoa! All right, guys, we got a cross-gen game. Is it a multiplayer game?
No.
All right, guys, it's not Zenith. Do you do a lot of good question, Looper. Was it a PSVR2 launch game?
No.
Damn. Okay. Is it a puzzle game?
No.
Sorry, Doot, the bloopity bloop game cat. What a fucking great name. Doot. Okay.
That's 5.
That's 5.
Sorry, I forget to do that a lot.
Is it a rhythm game?
No, it's not.
Okay. Not multiplayer game, not a launch game, not puzzle, not rhythm. I would call Silver Nexus. I would say Red Matter is a puzzle game. Professor Loth is asking if it's a horror game.
No, that's 2.
Well, then I'm out.
That's 7.
Those are the only games I'm familiar with. That's a good question, Jeremy. Jeremy, the NES rookie, is asking, was it a free upgrade if you own the PSVR 1 version?
I'm just doing a quick search on Twitter.
Oh, interesting.
I think it was. I'm going to say yeah, but I'm not entirely confident on that.
All right.
I'm pretty sure it was though.
Did this developer make other PSVR 1 or PSVR 2 games?
Yes.
Okay.
That's 9.
Does this game have a lot of shooting in it, like shooting with guns?
Yeah.
Would you
10.
Would you know that from the title of the game?
Yeah, you would.
You would. Would it be a? Would the title infer that it was a place you could join other people who also liked shooting things? It was like maybe a group of people, like a club of some kind.
Like a club.
Yeah.
I'd say a club. Yeah, a club that was in VR. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That you use guns in, maybe. Yeah.
All right. So
that's up to 16, 17.
Is it Shooty Fruity?
It is not, Brian. I'm afraid it's. I can't believe you didn't get that. My God.
Is it Gun Club VR?
It is Gun Club VR, Brian. Well done. And I do believe Looper was first in the chat. My question to you, Brian, is what other game, or what is the dev, and what other PSVR game did they do?
Oh, I see. You're turning the trivia back on me.
No, that's right. Just tell me the game. Do you know what?
This is the Binary Mill. That's the developer. The Binary Mill, and they did quite a few other games. They did Rush VR, which was the wingsuit racing game.
So Rush, I knew about. I didn't know there were others.
They did Mini Motor Racing X, which was kind of a RC Pro-Am style racing game that they added like a first-person cockpit mode for it. And it was great. They also did. Oh shoot, I just lost the other one. There was another one.
I can't. Assault Squadron? No, not Assault Squadron.
No, But they've got that Spider-Man style game where you like swing through the city, which wasn't on PSVR 1 or 2, but like really hoping that they port that over. I believe that was them. And
Gun Club was a $10 upgrade, so it wasn't free. Yeah, I wasn't
upgrade?
sure.
Was it really?
Yeah.
All right, listen. It's a great version of Gun Club. Like I'm actually really impressed with this version.
Yeah, I paid full price for Gun Club because I didn't own it on PSVR, and it's worth every penny. And I actually think it's one of the best shooting games on PSVR2. Like the customization for the guns, to the point, and I might have mentioned this on the previous show, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, to the point that like when you want to put a sight on your pistol and it's like, oh, you need a rack first to like hold it. So you buy a rack, but it's to go under the pistol. And so then you look at your gun and the scope is underneath the pistol in front of where the trigger is. And so like you can customize everything. But going into it, my feeling was, okay, this is going to be a fun game, but you're just shooting cardboard cutouts. But it feels great. Like, it's a really engaging game. There's so much grinding, so much money, so many different modes. And it's one I'm definitely going to grind for the platinum for. But I'm having a really, really good time with it.
It feels like it goes on forever, too.
Yeah. There's just so much going on. Really, really good. Rush VR, Professor Liv said, was the best multiplayer on PSVR 1. I actually never played it. So I missed out on that, unfortunately. Do we reckon Rush is a game that they'd bring to PSVR 2, or is Rush kind of like, nah, it needs to be something like Gun Club is a clear like would benefit from PSVR 2. Is Rush something that would?
I mean, I think Rush is, I think, overall like the game that they made for PSVR 1 that was the favorite. It was the favorite. Like whenever we got together as a group, whenever there was like GameCast that wanted to play together, that was the game we kind of gravitated towards. It was it felt really good to play, and I think that they could do so much stuff with. I mean, so first of all, like, it sort of looked like a mobile game when it launched. Like it looked good, but not great. And so obviously they could do a whole lot more on PSVR 2 visually, but it's wingsuit racing, right? And so like I think like you're flying through the air. I think they could use like a low vibration rumble in the headset. Like one of those barely noticeable ones to give you that sensation of like you are flying into air that has resistance, right? And then just give a low level rumble in the sense controllers as well, just to kind of give you that whole body feeling of you're flying through the air. I mean, that's just the first thing that comes to mind. I really do think there's a lot of potential for Rush VR. And the game I was thinking of was Resist. I'm pretty sure Resist is them as well on which, again, never came to PlayStation VR at all. But I'd really like it if it did. People seem to like that a lot. All right, Myles, it is time to get out of here. Amazingly, we cut multiple stories from the run of the show, and we're still closing in on a 2-hour episode. Shocker, right? No one here is surprised. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Really, really appreciate you guys. Before we go, I do want to give a shout out to Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, who, dude, has just been like, life has been fucking kicking him in the face lately. He's been so busy, and a lot of shit's been happening, and he's the guy he's been doing the timestamps for the show for literally years now. And today he announced his retirement.
Whoa!
Retirement from timestamps. And
so does that mean time stops? What happens to time, Ryan?
Yep.
Do we just not have time anymore? Like, what does this mean?
Yep. Time is but an illusion now.
Wow.
Yeah. So luckily our good friend Rhodey, the Game Cat Army General, he's going to pick up the mantle for the time being. He's our temporary fill-in. He's going to do the timestamps. So we're not losing timestamps, but we are losing a good man, and that's Sci-Fi Game Cat Army. We wanted to say thank you so much. He says he's going to still be watching. He's still going to be around, which is great. But hopefully he can just be around and enjoy the show now. When he's around, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I just got off of work and now I have to watch GamesCast, and that's more work because I got to do the timestamps and then get them to Brian after the show. Like, hopefully you can just, put up your feet a little bit when you get home from work now. But we just want to say thank you so fucking much, Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, for all the work that you put in.
Amazing.
The number of people that like help me every single day, and don't get recognition and don't get paid. It takes a lot more to run this thing than I think people realize. So shout out to Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry. Everybody send some love in the chat, please.
Thank you, Henry. Amazing.
He's filled with the Level 1 membership. Says, thanks for all you do, Henry.
Salute.
All right, guys, let's get out of here. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you to everybody who helps the channel run, from RidePop to Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry to everybody who supports the channel financially over on patreon.com/withoutparole for being members here on YouTube, for tipping during the show. But you know what? Fuck money. Money only gets you so far. Thank you to everybody for being part of this amazing community and making my my life better every single day that you're part of it. I love you guys more than you can possibly imagine. So thank you for being here in the chat. Thanks for keeping us entertained while we try to keep you entertained. And then I will never forget that long before I started doing this, I was one of the people in the background that watched lots and lots of shows and never commented, never said a fucking word during any live stream. So everybody who sits back and watches the show doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there because I used to be you, and I love you just as much. Happy Friday, Myles.
Happy Friday, Brian. Happy Friday, Game Cats. Have a good weekend.
Let's go. I don't know why the button doesn't work. Let's try that again. Oh no, Myles! I don't have a clip of the week ready.
My bad.
My bad. We were doing so much for today's show, and then we completely forgot that it was actually Friday, and that we don't have a clip of the week ready. Here, I'm gonna look over here real quick on. Oh my god!
Did anyone post?
So many conversations. Okay, here I'm gonna download this one right here.
That's right.
This is from our friend Orseek, the classic game cat. It looks like Ancient Dungeon VR. Okay.
Ooh.
Now, I want to be very clear here. I have not watched this, and I do not have sound while watching this. So it's 14 seconds long, and I'm just gonna play it and cross my fingers that it's funny and that it's not fucking offensive.
Yeah, I mean.
So you ready? Okay, here we go. Let's hope this works.
Oh.
Okay, I hope that was good. I'm gonna go watch it and see what the hell that was all about.
That's cool. That happens a lot in. It actually happened in a redacted game we played earlier where we were attacking, and then there was a massive hole in the wall. It's like, oh, didn't realize that was there.
Yeah, that did happen on Bartender VR Simulator. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Weird. All right, guys.
But no, it's cool. It's cool. That's the magic of Ancient Dungeons. I do need to get back to that game.
Oh yeah, dude. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I keep saying 10 out of 10 like I need to convince people that it's 10 out of 10.
I think you liked it quite a bit, didn't you? You liked it a little bit.
That's quite a bit. I liked it 10 out of 10. For sure. All right. Good night. Everybody, we love you. Have a great weekend.